Hi everyone, my name is Angela, and today we'll be going over media representation of Asians and its effects. Our research topic is the power of media and how Asian Americans' self-perception is affected by the portrayal of Asian Americans in American media. And this is important because it can lead to consequences like widespread stereotyping, biases, which can result to violence, assimilation, and feelings of wanting to fit in, and more. Our research question is, how does media representation of Asian Americans in the United States influence their self-perception? And our thesis is the underrepresentation and stereotypical portrayal of Asian Americans in American media contributes to societal discrimination and racial bias, shaping Asian Americans' self-perception by fostering identity struggles rooted in invisibility and mischaracterization. So, how representative are Asian Americans in American media? Well, there was a research case study from the Asian American Journalists Association that examined demographics of the top 20 designated media markets in the US, and they were compared with the number of API reporters, API anchors, meteorologists, hosts, and on-air individuals working in the area's local television newsrooms. They found that although 48% of the API population lives within these DMAs, 24% of the stations had no on-air API reporters, and over 70% of stations lacked on-air staff proportional to the API residents in their DMA. And this can lead to consequences such as lack of role models for young Asian Americans and also lack of visibility, which can result in feelings of wanting to fit in, which can also lead to Asian Americans assimilating into better, well represented and dominant groups in American media, which are European Americans. So, for background information, personal identity forms through social group agents like family, friends, school, and a recently very popular one, media, and also more. Um, and some people may argue that Asian Americans often do appear in American movies and that they are often very popular, so they are not underrepresented in American media. But the reality of that is though there is improvement in including more Asian Americans in American movies, many popular American movies with Asian characters highlight them in stereotypical ways. For instance, Shang-Chi, Mulan, Everything Everywhere All at Once, all very popular movies with Asian characters as leads, highlight Asian Americans in stereotypical roles as martial artists. And as a counter argument, some people may say that movies like Crazy Rich Asians, Asian Americans are portrayed in a seemingly positive way. Although that might seem so, in reality, this show is just one of many that stereotype Asians as overachievers who obtain financial and educational stability, like the foremost students, doctors, and tiger parents, framing them as the model minority. Um, and so why is the model minority myth a problem? People, a lot of people might think that it is actually a good thing to be given that title. In case you don't know what the model minority myth is, it is a stereotype that portrays Asian Americans as a group that is inherently intelligent, hardworking, and academically and financially successful compared to other racial and ethnic groups. So, why is it harmful? It is harmful because it sets harmful expectations on Asian Americans in schools and to the workplace. And inability to meet the high expectations that are set may create feelings of shame and inferiority. Assuming that most Asians are well off also has societal consequences like biases and hatred towards Asian Americans, as well as violence towards the community. Symbolic interactionism, which is how people make sense of the world through communication and socialization, may help explain how the stereotypical portrayals of Asian Americans in media have influenced perception, created identity struggles, and a yearn for social belonging, and also resulted in internalized pressures to adopt features associated with whiteness, which is most prominently represented in media. Um, and as background information, there is a huge difference in beauty standards and style between Asians living in Asia versus Asian Americans. So Asians living in Asia tend to prefer paler skin and makeup that is geared to like a more cute and youthful appearance. Meanwhile, Asian Americans tend to be more tan as they prefer it and have more Western makeup styles, like a lot of contouring, deep eyeshadow, etc. And recently there has been a lot of talk about Asian baby girls, also known as ABGs, which in definition are talkative and confident, often going to raves and parties. And ABGs also highlight the contrast between Asians living in Asia even more, defying traditional stereotypes and expectations that Asian women are quiet, meek, and subservient. This represents an attempt to challenge and combat stereotypes created by the media's representation of Asian Americans, increase social visibility, and gain acceptance in American society. This adaptation to Eurocentric norms and beauty standards also exemplifies a form of resocialization that reflects the stereotypical and underrepresentation of Asian Americans in the American media. And there's a quote by Monk that says, physical attractiveness is an important axis of social stratification associated with educational attainment, martial patterns, earnings, and more. This also explains Asian Americans' adaptation to Eurocentric beauty standards because overrepresentation of European Americans in American media set them as the beauty standard. In conclusion, Asian Americans are often portrayed in stereotypical ways and are underrepresented in American media. And internal consequences include negative self-perception and feelings of inferiority and shame in Asian Americans, while external consequences include harmful stereotypes, which result in biases and hatred towards the Asian American community. This results in an endless cycle that will continue for generations if nothing is done. And here are my references, and thank you all for listening.